Welcome to the next lesson in Photoshop. In this lesson, I'll be going over dodging and burning and color correction. Okay, for this lesson we're going to be using the file called Max on Carousel. What we want to do is we want to lighten up Max and his surroundings, all the while darkening the background. So what we're going to use for that is the Dodge and Burn tool, located down here on the second to last space of your middle toolbar, or rather the bottom space of your middle toolbar. Keyboard shortcut O. The first one is going to be the Dodge tool, second is the Burn tool, third is the Sponge tool, which we won't get into today. First thing you notice after selecting the tool is that you have your regular looking cursor, but you also have a very important option at the very top, your exposure. Your exposure is basically how much power are you putting behind your burn or your lighten. It's very important because the way that the Dodge and Burn tool works is that, think of painting a wall with a paintbrush. If I click and hold and go down, you see that I'm lightening him. This is one application. Now, if I'm holding my mouse button down, you'll notice that he's not getting any lighter. That's because I haven't released the mouse button. If I let go, and then I click again, you'll notice that that's application number 2. Obviously, he looks brighter because I've put 2 applications of 100% exposure on top of Max. But if I venture out onto his shoulder, where I didn't hit before, he's only got 1 coat. So you can see the real difference right here in between the 1 coat and 2 coats of paint of the Dodge tool. So you must be very careful when you use both Dodge and Burn that you know where you're releasing your mouse and where you're clicking. Because if you just do something like this, you're going to get a whole bunch of different applications on top of each other, and it's just going to look like he's a little angel boy. Okay? Let's revert this and start again. Same deal with our Burn tool. You have exposure at the top. Set it to about 50%. Click, click. I'll just keep clicking, and you can see that eventually it's putting all these different 50% exposures on top. What you may also be noticing is that it is kind of fuzzy around the edges because our brush is not at 100% hardness. We have a 400% or 400 pixel wide brush, but now that our brush is at 100% hardness, it'll look completely different. It looks like an actual circle, like that. Most of the time you're going to want to stay with a feathered tip, but if you ever need a solid tip, that's how you change that. One technique that you need to know when using the Dodge and Burn tool is that you can also combine it with quick selection to make your life a lot easier. You can come in and select an area of Max. Let's just come in and select him, like his torso. We'll get rid of the wall back here as best we can. My brush is still pretty big, so it's not going to be very accurate. Get rid of this background here. Get rid of this bench. Okay, so if I grabbed my Dodge tool, when I paint, it will only appear inside that selected area. I don't have to worry about bleeding over. I don't have to worry about running my cursor as close to the edge as possible to try and get all the little nooks and crannies. I just have to make sure that I don't release my mouse until I'm done, like so. That can be a very easy way to apply some of these techniques we're going to talk about. It will, like I said, save you a lot of time and make things a lot easier on yourself. And again, Command D, as in dog, gets rid of your marching ants. Okay, let's move on to our cruise ship and talk about layer masking and the quick selection tool. I'm going to use my quick select tool to select the water down here, just very quickly. And I want to direct your attention up here to your adjustments panel. you have 3 different rows of buttons. In the amusement park exercise, we used the brightness and contrast to change the lightness and darkness of the 2 guys at the Ferris wheel. We remember that layer masks are a non-destructive change that can be turned on and off whenever we need them to be. But for the purposes of this exercise, let's go ahead and click the button on the second row called Hue and Saturation. It is the first button. When we click it, we notice that our ants disappear, and we notice that our layer mask is white in the area we had selected and black in the areas we did not. Meaning that any adjustments that we make here to this layer mask, since it's selected, will not affect the areas in black, but will affect the areas in white. Okay, let's go over here to our Properties panel. Let's take our Hue slider and change the color of the water. You may notice that the color of the water does not exactly match up to where the slider is here. That's because we started with a blue color at our 0 position, meaning we're starting a little bit over here. So keep that in mind when you're shifting, so that it may take a little bit longer to reach the yellow. Like I say, it may probably take it to right around the E in hue to reach the yellow color right there, because we started a little off center. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing your quick selecting and your coloring, that it doesn't always start from that center position. You can also come in and change your saturation. You can really oversaturate the color, or you can completely take it out and make your picture black and white, or portions of your picture black and white. Lightness and darkness, you can, let's turn this water orange and really up the saturation and then make it a dark orange. Or we could make it a light orange. But of course, you see, if we stray too far from the center in our lightness, it starts to really distort the image. So the lightness and darkness is going to be one that you're going to have to use sparingly. Let's look at one more application, which is our private island. Let's say that I wanted to change the color of these beach tents. What I would need to do is a 3-step process. Select, mask, change. I would select my beach chair, making sure I'm on the right layer, of course. Let me get rid of some areas I don't need. Select. Not quite to the edge, but good enough. We need to click our Hue and Saturation button so that it makes our layer mask here. And then select, button, change. Change the color. And when I do this, you can really tell the areas that I didn't get. You can see there's some blue right here that kind of looks like the front of the tent is blue. The bottom part is blue as well. So say you want to go on to the next one. Again, select, button, change. You don't even have to click off of the layer mask over here. You can just simply go to the next one, select, cursor's way too big. Select, button, layer mask, and then change. That's red. And you can just repeat the process. In this video, we've talked about dodging and burning, the basics of how to use quick selection with dodging and burning, and how to change color, saturation, and lightness using the Hue and Saturation Adjustment layer masks. Join us next time.